you can see the map in the back. So that's a map of the current Sri Chinmoy Oneness Home Peace Run that we're going to do starting tomorrow. So I have a lot of work to do to get ready, but it's nice to talk to people and share these things. Just a brief history. It started in 1987 in the United States first, and then other countries as well in Europe. And I was involved in the US run back then. And it was happening every other year in the US and also in Europe, I think sometimes every year in certain countries, and sometimes around most of the European countries, maybe 49 and 48 countries. And we have 50 states here in the United States. And over the past years, we couldn't do all 50 states, and we would do runs in certain states and then go up to Canada and go across Canada. But this year is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence from England of the U.S., which was the colonies back then. And so anyway, it's an important year for kind of the birthday of the United States. So we're going to go through all 50 states again, and that's what we're preparing. And I've done it many, many times, but in 1976 we did the 200th anniversary of this Declaration of American Independence. And I was on that as well. I was 23, 24 years old. And we went through all 50 states. And at the end, and it was so difficult, I thought this is once in a lifetime chance. And at the end, Sri Chinmoy was standing next to a motorhome kind of like this, a little bigger. And there was a map like this. And he pointed to the map. And he said, you know, our route around the U.S. And he was in a very high consciousness, and he was thanking us. We were sitting in front of him, and then he said in a very, very kind of spiritual way, this will be done many times in the future. And back then, it was so hard for many reasons. It was the first one, and it was done in a more difficult fashion than it's done now, and we didn't have GPS or computers or anything. So my mind just went, how is that possible? You know, again, the mind is a problem. But my heart said, well, he's my guru. I have faith in him. That's his vision. So I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to try to, and so I felt very happy that somehow he saw this. And I always wanted to be involved, you know, but time went by and nothing happened for 10 years. And although they tried in 1979, we tried to organize a World Peace Run in 1979. And it fell through in the organizing stage. And somebody asked Guru back then, in 1979, can there ever be, or will there ever be a worldwide peace run? And Guru said, the world is not ready for it yet. And so immediately I knew that yet meant it's still going to happen. And so, you know, time goes by year after year after year, and we were doing, of course, a lot of other things and projects and manifestations. In 1986, Sri Chinmoy told a few disciples, one in particular, Shambhu, who was going to organize it, to organize a peace run in the United States and have other countries involved. And so it happened, you know, a year later. So that was 11 years after the first 50-state U.S. run. It became a world peace run called the Sri Chinmoy Oneness Home Peace Run. And so this is now, it's still going on. So his vision of many times has happened like every other year since 1987 in the U.S., except for a few years we stopped. But and all over the world now, 160 countries or so it's touched. And that again is a boost in knowing that Sri Chinmoy's vision of the future, and knowing what we'll say the supreme reality is, the supreme wants, is something more than we can sometimes imagine, you know, and we need help seeing deep into the essence of this earth and the reality of what the precious planet we're on. And so we were always encouraged by Sri Chinmoy to have faith in that and to manifest it. when we're ready. So he wants us to be ready and receptive, and that's why we meditate. We have spiritual disciplines, and we discipline ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so now that I'm almost 74 years old, and I started when I was 19, I feel like I made progress, but the time is eternal, it seems, at least on this planet for now. So we never really get old. We just keep going and going and going. Hopefully in my next life I'll continue.